Hello, and welcome to your own Practica experience. The ISU for You Promise Practica experience is a special opportunity to think about what it means to be an effective teacher of all students, especially those whose identities schools haven't particularly served well. I'm talking about identities as it pertains to race, ethnicity, culture, language, gender, religion, ability, family situation, sexual orientation, socioeconomic status, and many more. It's important to be aware of our own identities and the identities that our institutions privilege so that we do not unintentionally perpetuate negative outcomes. Teachers who are culturally proficient observe and respond to issues of equity. They challenge students' critical thinking around these issues in schools and society. They nurture social interactions in classrooms, playgrounds, and communities. And they recognize the power of their words and the impact of their actions. Students from marginalized backgrounds who are in classrooms with culturally proficient teachers have their identities validated and are made to feel like valuable stakeholders in the learning community. In turn, students from the dominant culture are presented with an opportunity to learn in a culturally inclusive environment, thereby helping them to be able to engage in authentic relationships with their fellow students. This all serves to fulfill one of the often purported purposes of schooling, to create a global, democratic citizenry. In thinking about your students' identities, keep in mind that students belong to multiple identity groups, and they may identify more strongly with some identities than others. This may challenge your assumptions. For instance, one of your Latina students may also strongly identify with the fact that she uses a wheelchair. Your challenge as her teacher is to support both of these identities as well as others. As we grow in knowledge of our students, we can create lessons and activities that allow us and our students to explore diversity of all kinds. While I was a school administrator, I was faced with several scenarios where race and racism played a significant role in my decisions. I remember one specific incident when a young black student named Andrew was sent to my office because he was accused of hitting a white female teacher. Andrew, an 11th grader, was a student I had known since he was in 7th grade and I was a teacher. Andrew and I had developed a special student-teacher relationship that grew each year during my time as a teacher. Andrew had his own version of what had transpired between the white teacher and him. He explained to me that he did not hit her and that he had actually gotten into an altercation with the teacher's son. He proceeds to tell me that prior to the altercation, that he and the son were actually good friends, but that the mother didn't like their friendship because Andrew was black. She was very suspicious of Andrew and would always watch him closely when he came to their house, and she would never let her son go to Andrew's house. He felt that she was finally using this as an opportunity to get rid of him. I asked Andrew if it was possible that he had hit her without realizing it. I told him that it was hard for me to believe that she would make all of this up just because she did not like him because of his race. I couldn't believe that she could be a racist. As a result, I never investigated Andrew's claims. I never talked to the student with whom he had the altercation. I never interviewed other student witnesses. I took the teacher's word. I never allowed race to enter the equation. Andrew was suspended, sent to an alternative school, and ultimately dropped out. As I look back now, I realize that I was not as racially aware during the time of this incident, and I didn't realize the damage that was being wrought on me as an individual and on the students I served. It wasn't until I attended a cultural proficiency workshop that I began to understand my role in perpetuating inequities and how I could have helped a lot more students. Today, I'd like you to write a list of all the diverse identities you see in your classroom. Which are obvious? How do you know? Which aren't, or which can't you see? What self-identities are apparent to you? How does your understanding of these various identities help you relate better to your students? Do you see ways that diversity isn't being effectively utilized as a teaching and learning resource? What are the ways that it is? Come up with an idea of how you might have students explore their diverse identities in ways that are meaningful to them, address resources and challenges in the classroom, and help build a strong learning community. Being an effective teacher is a lifelong process. This Practica will help you get started.